Best-selling true crime writer JoAnn Fanning has written 23 books about the most ghastly murders imaginable. One of her most popular is called Through the Window. It was a book that would turn the murder of JoAnn Tate on its head. It was when she met a man named Tommy Lynn Sells.
It is about the cross-country killing spree of Tommy Lynn Sells over 2 decades.
While doing research, JoAnn Fanning wrote to Tommy Lynn Sells to see if he'd be willing to talk. His address? Death row in a Texas prison. He wrote back, yes.
Sells is accused of slashing the throats of 2 young girls last New Year's Eve.
13-year-old Kayleen Harris was sexually assaulted and stabbed multiple times. Her friend, 10-year-old Crystal Searles' throat was slashed. Tragically, Kayleen died. Miraculously, Crystal survived and identified the man who was there that night. That man was Tommy Lynn Sells. Former Texas Ranger John Allen arrested Sells and interrogated him.
Tommy Lynn Sells was the kind of guy that basically almost had difficulty writing his name, but he was extremely street smart.
Soon after his arrest, Sells took investigators to the scene of the crime and reenacted what happened.
And then she like jumped back, and then I, cut her like this right here. And she fell down right here. I think I reached down there and done it one more time. And this little girl up here, I walked over here and I went like this.
His confession to this crime was shocking. Then, Tommy Lynn Sells dropped a bombshell.
He looked over to me and said, I guess you want to know about all the other homicides.
Other homicides? What others? Tommy Lynn Sells had been in trouble with the law since he was a teen in St. Louis, but murder was one charge that hadn't made it onto his lengthy rap sheet yet.
I just said, open up and tell y'all what y'all need to know.
In the course of the lengthy interviews, Tommy Lynn Sells claimed to have killed 70 other people.
What kind of wounds did you inflict on this guy?
I cut him from ear to ear.
And he admitted to killing in 10 to 12 other states.
Nevada, I raped her. In San Francisco, I took her car from her, pushed her off the pier.
Investigators were blown away, but believed the number was probably not as big as Sells claimed.
I'm confident that he committed at least 22 other homicides.
Sells was a transient who traveled the country while working at carnivals and as an auto mechanic.
There were several homicides that Sells committed where there were double homicides involving mother and son or mother-daughter nationwide.
In Del Rio, Texas, though, Tommy Lynn Sells didn't get away fast enough. He was convicted of capital murder and received the ultimate punishment.
Tommy Lynn Sells will now spend about the next 10 years on death row before he's executed.
And several months after Sells was settled into life on death row, author JoAnn Fanning got in touch.
My conversations started that September of 2001 with him asking for money, and then they became sexual, and then we finally got down to business. He told me about some of his most horrendous murders.
One night, while Fanning was home watching television, a story caught her attention. Julie Ray Harper, a single mother and PhD student at the University of Indiana, had been convicted and sentenced to 65 years for the brutal stabbing of her 10-year-old son, Joe Kirkpatrick, in the middle of the night. Fanning found the details eerily familiar, sort of like a Tommy Lynn Sells murder.
I wrote to Tommy Lynn Sells about Julie Ray's case. I didn't mention her name. I didn't mention the town. I didn't mention the date. And he fired a letter back to me that said, was that murder like a couple of days before the murder I committed in Springfield, Missouri? So I looked that up and I saw, sure enough, it was. Then I asked him, did somebody tell you about this? And he actually got a little bit angry with me. He said, there are a lot of crimes I committed. Someone else is sitting behind bars for them, and I don't care.
Tommy Lynn Sells outright admitted to stabbing Joel Kirkpatrick, giving details only the killer would know. Fanning put Sells' confession in her book. She soon got a call from the Director of Investigations for Investigating Innocence, Bill Clutter. who believed Julie Ray Harper was wrongfully convicted.
My reaction was that that description of the MO fit what I knew of Tommy Lynn Sells. He went in at 4 a.m., pulled a knife from the butcher block, went into the bedroom of this 10-year-old child, and stabbed him to death. The mother wakes up, struggles with him, and is injured. Yet police point the finger at her and disbelieved her story that this intruder committed this horrific crime.
Julie Ray Harper was eventually granted a second trial and found not guilty, and Tommy Lynn Sells was never charged with the murder. But the truth was coming into focus. There were likely others he had evaded too.
I am convinced that other people are behind bars serving time for crimes committed by Tommy Lynn Sells.
Coming up, as time went by, something nagged at Diane Fanning. Something that Tommy Lynn Sells had said. Like a good, inquisitive writer, she needed to keep digging.
He did say that there were closed cases in the St. Louis area that he had committed and someone else had been convicted of committing those crimes.
Could Rodney Lincoln be one of the people doing time for a Tommy Lynn Sells crime?
We identified over a dozen cases where the MO is identical to this case that Rodney Lincoln was convicted.